Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. 426th meeting of the Texas Animal Health Commission is called to order. The time is 8:42. And I ask that we now stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now call the roll for the commission members. After roll is called, I'll entertain a motion to approve an excused absence for anyone not present. Chairman's here, Jimmy Ruth Evans.
Here.
Melanie Johnson. Present. Ken Jordan. Here. Barrett Klein. Here. Wendy Payne.
Here.
Joe Leathers.
Here.
Thomas Oakes.
Here.
Joe Osterkamp is absent. TJ Klein.
Here.
Benjamin Turner.
Here.
Johnny Trotter. Here. Dr. Keenan Sturgis.
Here.
Okay, we're all here except Joe Osterkamp. I understand that Joe's got a daughter, is it? Having surgery today. It's pretty serious. So what is the pleasure of the commission as far as excusing him from this meeting?
I move that we excuse him. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to issue an approved absence for Joe Osterkamp. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by no. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, the next item on the agenda is closed executive session to receive legal advice, discuss pending or contemplated litigation and settlement offers as permitted by section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, and closed executive session to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline, or dismissal of specific commission employees as permitted by section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. The commission will reconvene in open session no earlier than 9:30. So at this time, we will go into the executive session. Okay, the time is now 10 o'clock and we'll go back into open session. I want to welcome all of our guests this morning. We're very happy to see you. It's always good to see everyone here and have a big crowd. The next item of agenda on the business will be approval of the minutes of the 425th meeting on August the 26th.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes of the 425th commission meeting.
Second. All right, we have a motion to approve the minutes and a second. Who seconded the motion? Okay, any discussion or questions? If not, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Opposed by no. The motion passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda will be an audit subcommittee report. Commissioner Leathers.
Mr. Chairman, we met with Mr. Rufus, and he gave us a report on cash disbursements, fixed assets, and fire internal audit. And the agency was found in compliance in all those areas. We also heard from a new firm that the agency has hired, Weaver and Associates. We heard from Mr. Dan Gaddis, and he gave us an overview of how they would go about an internal audit and risk assessments. And I might say that we were very impressed with the new firm. They're very detailed, and I think they'll be a great asset to the agency.
Good.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the audit subcommittee report as presented today.
Here we have a motion and second to approve the audit committee report. Any questions or discussions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed by no. The motion passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda will be a report of the executive director, Dr. Denchis.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. It is my pleasure to present my report to you this morning. We'll start out with agency operations and affairs. First, dealing with the veterinary medical education loan repayment programs that we're involved with. The rural veterinary incentive program is administered by the Texas Animal Health Commission, provides educational loan repayment assistance for payment or tuition and fees of up to $180,000 to eligible veterinarians and veterinary medical students who demonstrate commitment to working in designated rural Texas counties. The program offers up to $45,000 for each year of full-time veterinary service in rural counties in need of a veterinarian. A rural county is defined legislatively or by the legislation as a county with a population of less than 150,000 people. Funding was approved in the amount of $2.5 million for the fiscal year 2026 and another $2.5 million for the fiscal year 2027 by the 89th legislature. The RVIP committee met on September the 3rd and set the application period from September the 22nd through November 30th of this year. The RVIP committee will evaluate the applicants and awardees will be notified in February of 2026. Concerning the federal funded program, the Veterinary Medical Loan Repayment Program provides student loan debt relief for veterinarians that serve 3 years in veterinary shortage areas. The award amount of $40,000 per year of student loan debt for each year a veterinarian commits to working in a designated veterinary shortage area. An additional payment of $15,600 per year to cover tax liability is now included for a total maximum award of $166,800 for 3 years. Due to the pause and review of federal funding early in 2025, the Veterinary Medical Loan Repayment 2025 cycle was put on hold. USDA recently let states know that the 2026 cycle will be funded. Since the rural shortage areas that were designated in 2025 were not used, those shortage areas will be allowed to be used for 2026 cycle. Texas nominated and was awarded the maximum number of shortage areas, 8 total, consisting of 45 counties. Texas Animal Health Commission focused on nominating shortage areas along the Texas-Mexico border, West Texas, and the Texas Panhandle. Official dates have not yet been set, but the USDA plans to open applications in February or March of 2026. Concerning the cattle fever tick treatment field trial, which was appropriated $316,000 by the 88th legislature. This originally was a 2-year project, with 3 planned research trials. The first trial was initiated in the Laguna Atascosa National Wildlife Refuge in Cameron County in October of 2023. The objective of the study was to evaluate whether repeated dose regimens of injectable prenamectin were efficacious against adult female ticks on cattle constantly exposed to ticks via wildlife over the course of a year. The study was concluded in January of 2024 after 112 days due to an early indication that there were too many uncontrolled variables to meet the objectives. The study was moved to the USDA ARS research facility there at Edinburgh for a molt-controlled environment where the cattle can be pinned for inspection and treatment as required. The objective remained the same, but the study design updated to be more efficient, use less cattle, conclude with less study days, guarantee a more intense challenge with applied infestation of over 2,500 larval ticks every other week, and increased plasma sampling to improve understanding of how the prenamectin levels impact both tick survival and reproduction. The Moorfield project was completed in April of 2025. The preliminary findings were presented to the 67th Livestock Insect Workers Conference in Cody, Wyoming this past July. The research manuscript is under development, but progress has been delayed by federal shutdown and prioritization of New World screwworm preparation activities by the subject matter expert at the USDA ARS. Initial analysis of the findings suggested that the need for more robust data to be able to meet the study objectives for the 84-day treatment protocol. The USDA continued study of the effects of the 84-day treatment protocol on a subset of the original cattle starting in April. The collection of this additional data is expected to be concluded at the end of January of 2026 providing another 280 days of data analysis. The aprinamectin residue study is designed to determine aprinamectin B1A residue levels in multiple tissues following multiple doses of injectable aprinamectin, as suggested by the Moorfield data. The study is being done by the Texas A&M Animal Science Department and collaborators who will incorporate data regarding repeated dosage into FARAD models to determine best withdrawal recommendations for producers using the multi-dose regimen. The study design and statement work is completed and the contract is in place. The study will run for a minimum of 280 days and was projected to start in the fall of 2025. The initiation of the study has been delayed due to high cattle prices and unexpectedly availability complications with one of the primary collaborators. The study will begin as soon as TAMU is able to purchase the necessary 25 animals. The second trial at Laguna Atascosa National Wildlife Refuge will utilize the findings from the work done at the Moorfield project and the lessons learned from the first Landmark study to further evaluate the best effective multi-dose aprinamectin treatment protocol in a population of cattle managed to mimic common practices in South Texas. Initial planning and preparation for the project has already been started. Plans and protocols will be finalized once the findings from the research at Moorfield are available. The Labor and Budget Board have added $30,000 to the Texas Animal Health Commission base budget for the next biennium to complete all stages of the planned research. So that was my update there on the aprinamectin treatment trial. I will next give you an update on the 129th annual United States Animal Health Association meeting held in Aurora, Colorado from October 31st to November the 5th. Six Texas Animal Health Commission executive members and directors attended this year's meeting in Colorado. In the cattle ID subcommittee meeting, I was able to participate in a panel discussion along the state veterinarians from Idaho, Nebraska, and Tennessee to present an overview of each state's slaughter channels. In the tuberculosis subcommittee meeting, I was able to give an update on the current TB situation in Texas. Holly Tejan-Hale, Director of TAC Emergency Management, and Dr. T.R. Lancher gave a well-received presentation entitled Multi-Agency Coordination and Planning and Preparing for New World Screwworm, a Texas Approach to the Committee on Animal Emergency Management. Dr. Lancher continues to serve as the Vice Chair of the USAHA's Committee on Parasitic and Vector-Borne Diseases, which has been very active in New World Screwworm mitigation planning efforts. I continue to serve as the Vice Chair of the USAHA Subcommittee on Trichomoniasis. The TRIC Subcommittee continues to work with the National Veterinary Services Diagnostic Lab to develop a TRIC PCR proficiency test protocol for veterinary diagnostic labs to complete. The Texas Animal Health Commission group was able to attend multiple USAHA committee meetings over the 6 days. 2 meetings of the National Assembly of State Animal Health Officials were also held. Due to the federal government shutdown, we were unable to meet with APHIS administrators and other USDA APHIS veterinary service leadership. A face-to-face meeting was held with binational committee, U.S. border states animal health officials, industry members from NCBA, Texas Cattle Feeders Association, and National Farm Bureau, and APHIS USDA veterinary officials, Dr. Rosemary Sifford and Dr. Brianna Schur. That meeting was held. Dr. Sifford stated that Mexico has made good progress in improving regulatory infrastructure, such as checkpoint controls for internal cattle movements, consistency of inspections, and general inspection protocols since the New World Screwworm Action Plan was released and agreed to by Mexico in August of this year. Now for the national update pertaining to cattle fever ticks, specifically the nematode used to treat the Nalgai antelope in the cattle fever tick eradication zone. The FDA has approved a new categorical extension for nematode use that will expand the use of nematodes from the cattle fever tick eradication program counties, plus additional counties. The company has communicated that no nematodes will be available in the fall. This due to the Florida citrus industries not demanding that the nematodes be produced. So the company is not has no incentive basically to make the nematodes for our use experimentally. So To update you on the Rio Bravo buffer zone there in northern Mexico, the USDA, APHIS, Seneca, and the Mexican states of Tamaulipas and Coahuila work cooperatively to establish a cattle fever tick buffer zone with focused pilot project areas along the Rio Grande, mirroring the permanent quarantine zone here in Texas. The USDA allocated approximately $150,000 to contribute to the project in the 2025 fiscal year. The second phase was to have run from October 24th through September 25th. And the USDA had asked that there be an increase in wildlife surveillance during this time period. The scope and the financial distribution are listed there in the report. The work had been paused due to the federal government stopping payments for international agreements back in February of this year. Funding was reinstated and work was resumed on June 1st of 2025. The U.S. government shut down, and the current state of animal health in Mexico has delayed the receipt and review of the Mexican status report or state's progress reports for the projects there. But keep in mind that no money will be dispersed to the Mexican states until the USDA has reviewed those progress reports and verified that the work had been done. So now concerning the Asian longhorn tick, the monthly updated responsibilities have transitioned from the USDA APHIS to the medical and veterinary entomology team at the University of Tennessee. To date, the Asian longhorn tick has been discovered in 25 states and Washington, D.C. Kansas is the newest state with discovery of the tick. The tick was found in a dog in Franklin County, Kansas, the first week in October. Affected states continue to use producer education and outreach to mitigate the risk of introduction of the tick into their state. The 89th legislature funded the Texas Animal Health Commission's exceptional item request for the next biennium to procure additional equipment personnel to increase foreign pest surveillance more broadly throughout Texas by establishing a Texas Animal Health Commission ectoparasite field identification laboratory. The application and interview process for the above mentioned personnel is underway. Now on to the New World screwworms and what's going on in Mexico. Excuse me. As of November 8th, Seneca reports that 10,011 total cases of New World screwworms, with 808 of those being considered active cases. To date, the northernmost case has been found just 70 miles south of the Texas-U.S. border there in Sabinas Hidalgo, Nuevo Leon. The case was reported on September the 21st of this year. An 8-month-old heifer noticed upon arrival in the feed yard was found to have wound infested with larvae. The heifer was in a group of 100 head that had been moved from an infested area in southern Mexico. The remainder of the group was inspected and treated by Seneca employees. On October the 6th, the calf was found in a Seneca checkpoint there in Montemorelos, Nuevo Leon, approximately 170 miles south of the Texas-U.S. border. The calf was in a shipment of 85 head, said to have originated from an infested Mexican state. The cattle were said to have been treated with ivermectin and dipped prior to shipment. All larvae in the wound of the infested calf were said to be non-viable. The cohorts in the lot were inspected and found to be free of New World screwworms by Seneca employees. On October 9th, 2025, Seneca reported that a case of New World screwworms had been detected and treated in a timely manner in the municipality of Ezequiel Montes Querétaro during the third inspection of a shipment of cattle that originated from an infested state in southeast Mexico. On a destination ranch, the authorized veterinarian identified the bovine was with an infested lesion, which was one of 67 head in the shipment. Seneca employees inspected the animal and collected samples, treated the wound, and treated the rest of the animals in the shipment. Seneca's protocol for response to the outlying northernmost cases is deploy teams of veterinarians to each region with the state governments to set up and Seneca works with the state governments to set up a 24-mile radius zone around the index premises where the enhanced inspections of animals and producer and general public education is carried out. A new bovine case was reported in Encarnacion de Diaz, Jalisco, excuse my pronunciation there, on November the 3rd. Based on what we know so far, it appears to be the detection represents another animal movement event rather than natural spread of the pest westward. As the cases associated with animal movements continue to be discovered in northern Mexico, the natural spread of the adult New World screwworm fly continues to the northwest, with cases now being found in the states of Puebla, Morelos, and Guerrero in the last few months. Sterile New World screwworm flies dispersal polygons have been adjusted to cover this movement. In all, 10 states in southern Mexico appear to have established New World screwworm fly populations. As far as the USDA response, concerning the northernmost detections in Mexico, the USDA deploys teams to work with Seneca on the ground to confirm details of each case and perform epidemiological evaluations. The USDA operations teams work to adjust sterile fly dispersal and surveillance activities to ensure the area is covered. Concerning the northernmost cases in Nuevo Leon, both cases are considered inactive. Surveillance has revealed that no adult fly population to be present through two fly life cycles. Surveillance and ground release of sterile flies will continue throughout a third life cycle in the area. This release will happen and surveillance will happen through the mid part of December. On November 13th, the USDA announced the opening of a sterile fly dispersal facility in Tampico, Mexico. The Tampico facility will allow the USDA to disperse sterile flies aerially across northeastern Mexico and including Nuevo Leon. The USDA Cattle Fever Tick Eradication Program, the USDA Veterinary Services, and the Texas Animal Health Commission continues to monitor 101 traps deployed in 8 Texas counties from Brownsville to Del Rio. As of yesterday, 29,437 individual flies have been submitted to the National Veterinary Services Lab from the trapping efforts in Texas. 25,036 flies have been confirmed negative, which are not New World screwworms, by the National Veterinary Services Lab. The remaining balance is in the process of being identified. The USDA Veterinary Service surveillance fly traps are deployed along the U.S.-Mexico border in New Mexico, Arizona, as well as California, in addition to the Texas traps. USDA Veterinary Service staff completed their 4th trip to Mexico on October 25th this year. Previous trips were taken in June, July, and September. They continue to monitor the Mexican government's efforts to control, mitigate, and eradicate New World screwworms. Texas Animal Health Commission has not seen reports that are produced from these trips, and the USDA VS has not disclosed what information was obtained. There are trips scheduled for December 2025 and January 2026. It was mentioned that the USDA APHIS International Services may be scheduling a meeting in Costa Rica in December of 2025 to discuss the northern movement of livestock from and through the Central America. It is my belief that these animals continue to be moved into Guatemala and ultimately into southern Mexico. USDA New World Screwworm Response Playbook was distributed on Friday, October 17th. The USDA conducted a NASDA and NASAHO listening session on Monday, the 27th, a livestock industry listening session on Tuesday, October 28th, and a wildlife industry listening session on Wednesday, October 29th. The New World Screwworm Response Playbook is a draft documents, and comments can be submitted to the USDA via email in the document or on the USDA's National or New World Screwworm dashboard. There are multiple guidance documents associated with USDA's New World Screwworm Response Playbook, and several of those are still being drafted. As far as the dispersal facility in South Texas is concerned, construction of the $8.5 million domestic dispersal facility at Moore Air Base is progressing and is still on track to be operational in early 2026. It will be capable of processing up to 100 million sterile flies, New World screwworm flies per week. Those flies originating from the Copeg production facility in Panama. They're representing a significant expansion of our dispersal capacity and geographic range. Concerning the domestic production facility, Secretary Rollins remains committed to construction of a domestic facility with a projected production capacity of 300 million sterile flies per week to work in tandem with facilities both in Panama and Mexico to protect American animal agriculture from New World screwworms. The newly formed USDA APHIS New World Screwworm Directorate continues to work closely with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers on planning for the domestic production facility. The Directorate hopes to release more information in a projected timeline very soon. As far as Texas response goes, Texas Animal Health Commission continues our New World Screwworm planning and preparedness activities. Our weekly, bi-weekly communication, coordination, and collaboration calls are ongoing. Internal and external working groups continue to work on response, focusing on animal movement control, treatment, and surveillance. The Texas Animal Health Commission Emergency Management Team has held 4 two-day New World Screwworm response trainings for Texas Animal Health Commission staff and other response agencies, with the next one being a one-day training scheduled for December in San Antonio, Texas. Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, as well as Texas Parks and Wildlife personnel are scheduled to attend. Education and outreach efforts to raise awareness continue to be conducted. Texas Animal Health Commission continues to meet with industry groups and veterinary groups to keep them apprised of the New World Screwworm situation in Mexico and discuss the latest information involving response, treatment, control, and eradication efforts. The Texas Animal Health Commission continues to work with Texas Parks and Wildlife, both individually via weekly coordination calls and through the Texas Screwworm Response Team, the TAHC, and Texas Parks and Wildlife New World Screwworm Response Team, with the mission to amplify New World Screwworm preparedness in Texas and serve as a central hub for coordinating information, aligning strategies, and delivering resources to support prevention, detection, control, and eradication efforts. Held its first meeting in September of this year. The second meeting is tentatively scheduled to take place on December 2nd. Texas Animal Health Commission continues to update and distribute producer guidance documents in the form of frequently asked questions about New World Screwworm surveillance and a flyer entitled "What to Do If You Suspect New World Screwworms." Since the reported case in Nuevo Leon, Texas Animal Health Commission has increased the communication efforts with both emergency management personnel and livestock deputies in numerous South Texas counties. We have also increased awareness among South Texas livestock market owners and management. In late September, the Texas Animal Health Commission participated in the United States Animal Health Association and National Institute for Animal Agriculture's New World Screwworm 2-day symposium in Kansas City, Missouri. The symposium, entitled "Safeguarding U.S. Livestock from New World Screwworm: A Complete Approach to Prevention, Treatment, and Animal Movements," was well attended by veterinary pharmaceutical companies, state animal health officials, and representatives from numerous livestock and equine industries. Dr. Lansford played a major role in planning and organizing the symposium, and I want to say job well done, and I certainly appreciate his efforts in the New World Screwworm mitigation planning. So representatives from the USAHA, APHIS Veterinary Services, the FDA, and EPA were also in attendance at this meeting. The goal of the symposium is to produce a white paper to present to the EPA or an FDA a list of potential products to be considered for prevention, control, and treatment of New World Screwworms in livestock. Dr. Lansford and I continue to meet with the NASAHO New World Screwworm Working Group twice a week. We are reviewing the New World Screwworm Playbook and associated guidance documents with the USDA National Preparedness and Incident Coordination staff. This group was able to meet for an hour and a half in person at the USAHA meetings recently. We continue to meet once a week with the Great Plains Regional New World Screwworm Working Group, which is comprised of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona, to better harmonize regions' livestock movements during a potential New World Screwworm infestation. As far as the FDA is concerned, on August the 18th, the Department of Health and Human Services Secretary issued a declaration of emergency pursuant to the Federal Food and Drug and Cosmetic Act for New World Screwworm. The declaration, the first step under statute, authorizes the Food and Drug Administration to issue emergency use authorization for animal drugs for prevention and treatment of New World Screwworm. On September 30th, the Food and Drug Administration conditionally approved Dectomax CA1, injectable solution for the prevention and treatment of New World Screwworm larval infestations and prevention of New World Screwworm reinfestations for 21 days. Dectomax CA1 is conditionally approved for use in cattle only. Antiparasitic animal drugs are an important tool in the overall toolbox of the New World Screwworm response and are best deployed in targeted ways when a threat is present to reduce driving unnecessary antiparasitic resistance. The FDA has continued to work at full steam to bring additional products to to market as part of the coordinated USDA response. Texas Animal Health Commission continues to correspond with the FDA on a regular basis concerning New World screwworm prevention, control, and treatments. We have a monthly recurring meeting with the FDA every Thursday to include Texas A&M's Dr. Philip Kaufman and Dr. D. Ellis. And that meeting is coming up this week, I believe. So now on, and finally, but not least, on to high path avian influenza. Excuse me, we continue our national outbreak, which began in February of 2022. To date, over 177 million birds have been affected. Nationwide, 1,855 premises in 50 states and Puerto Rico have been affected. 1,130 of those premises being considered poultry by the World Organization of Animal Health, 725 of those being considered non-poultry by that same agency. Texas has had 15 total HPA positive premises since February of 2022, to include 2 commercial flocks totaling just over 1,895,000 birds. Our latest detection was in a backyard non-poultry flock there in Harris County in November of this year. Concerning the national dairy HPAI issue, which stems from a spillover event in the fall of 2023 and in the early winter of 2024 there in the panhandle of Texas. Obviously, dairy cows were diagnosed with HPAI in March of 2024, dealing with influenza H5, genotype B313. To date, 19 states, 1,084 premises have been confirmed having HPAI dealing with the dairy cattle. In Texas, 30 premises in both the Panhandle and Stephenville milk sheds have been involved. There's no discovery of an animal epi-link associated with cattle movements between milk sheds. The last known test positive premise showing clinical signs was disclosed December the 13th of 2024. That herd was located in the Texas Panhandle. There were 2 premises that tested positive, 1 or 2 on May the 12th of 2025, and 1 premises that tested positive in September of 2025. These samples were bank samples from March of 2024. The premises involved were applying for the USDA's Livestock Assistance Program payments and needed to prove that the premises had positive cattle at one time during the program dates. We did have spillover events of H5N1 that occurred in both Nevada and Arizona dairy cattle this last year, dealing with this time genotype D1.1. The genotype D1.1 represents the predominant genotype in the North American flyways in the fall of 24 and the winter of 2025. It has been identified in wild birds, mammals, and spillovers into domestic poultry. In December of 2024, the USDA issued a federal order mandating that testing of unpasteurized milk intended for interstate movement, thus created the USDA APHIS National Milk Testing Strategy, which facilitates comprehensive H5N1 surveillance of the national's milk supply and dairy herds. The objectives and the stages of that plan or strategy are in the report there. Texas began the National Milk Testing Strategy on April the 7th by conducting plant silo monitoring. The Department of State Health Services administers the pasteurized milk ordinance established by the FDA and is conducting silo sampling. Samples were collected every 4 to 5 weeks. There are, on average, 172 enrolled silos at Texas each testing round. On average, there are 86 to 104 silos qualified for sampling each round. The data had been compiled at the conclusion of week 31, which wrapped up on November the 3rd. A silo may be exempt from testing for various reasons, such as the silo was empty, the silo doesn't meet sampling minimums, the silo does not contain grade A fluid milk, or it was skipped for whatever reason, whether it be weather or inspector schedule. We currently are on the 8th round of testing. 646 samples have been submitted to date. Texas Animal Health Commission has not been made aware of a positive silo. If a positive silo is detected, the Texas Animal Health Commission will be responsible for coordinating the collection of bulk milk tank samples from each dairy in the positive silo to detect the positive dairy. Texas Animal Health Commission will work with a positive dairy to mitigate spread and ultimately eliminate the virus from the premises. So that concludes my report. The waivers and variances are there below, and I'm happy to answer any questions or comments you might have.
No questions? You covered a lot of ground and been busy.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sorry for the link for the report there.
Do I have a motion concerning the waivers and variances?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the waiver.
Request and variances as presented today.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the waivers and variances as presented. Any further discussion or questions? If not, all signify by saying aye. Aye. And all opposed by no. Motion passes unanimously. Next item will be a field animal health program and disease traceability activity report by Dr. P.O. Ledford. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. It's always a pleasure to be able to give you all some updates related to some of the activities with animal health programs, ADT, emergency management, and I will not be including very many remarks regarding program records and quality assurance because Ms. Galvan, our program records director, is going to give you all some updates today. So diving into animal disease traceability, I got the right button today, so here we go. Yes, this is the last commission meeting of the year. Just kind of wanted to put in some slides that gave you some perspective about what the numbers have looked like over the quarters in terms of tag distribution, premises registrations, pins, lids, all of those kind of good things. And so I'm not going to dwell on all of these numbers, but just that information is available to you. But looking at this last quarter, over the summary of the year since last October, we've issued more than 920 new premise IDs and more than 10,000 location IDs or lids. 1,200 Scrapie flock IDs and then distributed in excess of 434,000 EIDs. And those are in the form of primarily the no-cost RFID tags for cattle and some for Scrapie as well. So if you look at the numbers just for this last quarter, July to September, you can see that our numbers for distribution of tags was up just a little bit. And our Scrapie flock numbers are holding steady. And so in total, Animal Health Commission is in the process of receiving about 1.569 million tags from USDA as part of the no-cost tag grant or agreement. And we certainly, I think, have gotten most of those in or are in the process of getting the rest of them. So certainly have a good supply of those, and we continue to make those available to producers and to the veterinarians, the practitioners out there that are requesting those. So moving on to one other comment about the electronic IDs related to the swine industry. There's a couple of grants that have been awarded, one to Merck and Allflex, who Merck has bought out Allflex to distribute no-cost electronic IDs to the swine producers, and they're targeting exhibition swine folks. And so that is in the works. Merck is working out the kinks to allow folks to get into that system and order those tags. I think sometime at the beginning of the year, that's going to be available to producers. Another grant with USDA to the National Pork Board has been put in place. I think last year was the first year, but was been put in place and continued to provide for electronic ID readers. And the emphasis there is to get those into the hands of exhibitions. And so we're working with Colby, with Texas Pork Producers, National Pork Board, and those companies to promote and advertise those different programs there, and hopefully advance EID and ADT in the swine industry, especially the exhibition swine industry. So moving on to some stakeholder outreach, and that ties right in with electronic ID readers. This is in the spirit of kind of showing where we were at the last commission meeting. It had issued 247 of those readers, and As of this report, we're up to 341. So Matt Cabala's been busy out there getting tag readers into the hands of accredited veterinarians, and we certainly appreciate all he's doing and all the work on the IT side to get those things, make sure that they're working correctly and everything else to put those hands and get them in use. We also related to outreach, want to certainly express some appreciation to our authorized personnel folks, program folks, and the communications department as they continue to assist to get word out to the practitioners and to the folks about the new rule, which has been in place for over a year now, but we still get a lot of questions about the EID rule requirements for cattle and how to get a hold of free tags, and also their work in making sure that everybody's aware that we have an updated tag allocation form. So appreciate all their work, and we'll continue to work with the veterinary community in those efforts, and also with our markets that are continuing to use the new tags or the metal clips until that supply runs out. So moving on to emergency management, Dr. Dinges covered a lot of this. As you can imagine, our efforts have been focused on New World screwworm, or continue to be focused on New World screwworms. And so he's covered some of that. He did mention that we had completed the 4th New World Screwworm Field Response Training for Animal Health Commission staff. We also had a good representation from Parks and Wildlife and AgriLife Extension at that one. And certainly want to thank Commissioner for, or Chairman for attending that as well and sitting in on part of that and getting a feel for what that looks like. So we've also continued to, in addition to the things that Dr. Den just mentioned, our staff at Emergency Management are meeting with TDM with some regularity to keep them updated on planning efforts and what that's going to look like if moving forward as we get some of the plans hammered out and refined to better reflect the things that are being put out in the national playbook, USDA playbook, and some of those support documents. And so certainly in that effort, we continue to coordinate with USDA on the development and refinement of the playbook and some of those support documents. We're working with them to here in the next couple of days to coordinate some USDA meetings that and host them here, a couple of them or some of them here at the Animal Health Commission. That'll be industry sector meetings where USDA will be seeking input and comment from different sectors of the livestock industries related to the playbook and some of those guidance documents. So for those in the room related to industry, stay tuned. We'll be keeping you posted on what that looks like. So let's see. In terms of outreach and engagement, again, as you can imagine, that's also been very centered around New World screwworms. As I mentioned, we've had the opportunity to have some staff update the Emergency Management Council New World screwworms at their quarterly meetings. We've had a couple of staff that have also participated in industry meetings and provided updates and information on New World screwworm. Dr. Dinges had mentioned the meetings with the livestock deputy groups, and Dwayne and crew have been working on that. Dwayne is also, Easley has also gone with some of the region management and met with a few of the markets in South Texas, and we've got some others scheduled to meet with regarding New World screwworms and get input from them and ideas as we again continue to look at the pieces and parts associated with movement controls and especially identification challenges with those animals that may be coming out of a New World screwworm infested zone. So, and Dr. Dinges also mentioned already, but wanted to recognize Holly for doing an outstanding job with her presentation at USAHA, and really appreciate her work on that and the rest of her crew in getting that put together. So, related to secure food supply planning, we continue. Whoa, a little quick. What I did. Okay. So related to secure food supply planning, we continue to engage with other states regarding those efforts. Some of the positions from the exceptional items did include some additional staff as that secure food supply planners or planning positions. And we have interviews scheduled for the end of this week and first part of next week to get a couple of those filled. So we're moving forward with that. In terms of upcoming events, working with Texas Pork Producers and National Pork Board to have a tabletop exercise here in Austin related to, or at least focusing on exhibitions, swine exhibitions, and if there was an outbreak of a high impact disease, foreign animal disease, and what that response might look like, with some emphasis on traceability and ADT issues to go with that. So we're looking forward to participating in that. Additionally, Dr. Den just touched on, we're going to be working with new Texas AgriLife to host another training for them. We may have some other groups there as well, but that will include not only agents, but specialists and AgriLife leadership. At that training, there will be a webinar on the 12th, component on the 12th, and then an in-person on the 15th in San Antonio. And as I understand it, there will also be probably some leadership from some other state extension programs as well to kind of see what that looks like. So the last thing on there, and I didn't get that on the slide, is we are working with an IAD project, an ad prep project for feed yard preparedness. And we're going to have a meeting with one of the feed yards participating in that here in December. So, and kind of get rolling on that project. So lots going on in emergency management. I don't have a slide to start with animal health program updates. So some things related to animal health programs. Wanted to provide a couple of updates on region offices. And so we continue to work with Texas Facilities Commission to establish a more permanent sub-office in Willacy County. And that's going to be, of course, concentrating on cattle fever tick eradication work that goes on in that area. And so that's ongoing in that process. We hope to have some of the finer details finally finalized on that project here soon. And Fabian and staff services has been taking the lead on that, doing a great job with that. Additionally, we have, after looking at a number of factors to include things like workload location, geographic, actual where it is on the map, some staffing considerations such as being able to hire and retain some positions, proximity to services like airports, shipping hubs, and lodging facilities, and just overall facility space. Executive management team did pull the trigger, and we are in the process of moving forward with moving the Beeville office to Jourdanton, and we're going to call it the Pleasanton Region Office because people are more familiar with Pleasanton than Jourdanton, and Pleasanton's easier to say. I'll spare the local vernacular for Pleasanton and Jourdanton, but anyway, we look forward to getting that done sometime in the spring. The tentative timeline is for that to happen March, April of 2026. And so I think Ms. Andrews is going to be presenting some information about a lease approval for that office and some of her materials for your consideration. So in terms of staffing updates, the Amarillo and Beeville Region Director positions remain vacant, and kind of in line with the comments about the Beeville office. As soon as we pulled the trigger and got that finalized, we posted the Region Director position for Beeville, which is going to be Pleasanton now. It wasn't long, and we had an application or two applications for the what will be the Pleasanton Region Director position, and we'll be conducting interviews for that on December the 17th. And so we're looking forward to having an applicant or two in there to hopefully select from and move forward. The active related to Amarillo, we're still actively searching and working on that position. So if you know anybody that may be interested, please point them our direction. So in terms of field staff, inspectors and region administrative assistants, that applicant flow remains high. In fact, one of the recent livestock inspector positions, we had more than 50 applicants that were qualified there. So that's great. We don't have any significant issues to report related to hiring in those positions. If you could click me 2 slides, please. One more. There we go. I got them out of order. Sorry, Aaron. Related to career ladder, wanted to just give you an update on our career ladder and some decisions that we made. We evaluated the current career ladder salary structure and looked at what that looks like and looked at the budget to determine the feasibility of potentially expanding that salary structure as employees progress through that career ladder. And we were able to make the decision and have all of the financial pieces to move forward with increasing each step by an additional $50, which is a pretty meaningful investment for those folks as they advance through that career ladder. And certainly appreciate the opportunity that presents us to provide some additional benefit to our employees in the field that are working so hard. So agency-wide, we're sitting at 203.5 out of 228 positions to be filled, or positions we can fill. If we can go to the slide backwards one. On that note, certainly a lot of work moving forward and great work being done by all of our management teams to get positions posted and filled through the assistance of HR. And just wanted to throw this slide up as kind of where we are on employee turnover at the Animal Health Commission. You can see over the past few years that turnover rate was fairly high. Right now, great news, we're sitting at about 12.2%. Overall state agency average for last year was about 17.7, 17.6, I think, for fiscal year 2025. And so we are, several percentage points below the state agency average. And certainly that is a testament to the leadership of Dr. Dinges and all the managers in the agency and their commitment to continue to create and maintain a positive and productive work environment. And certainly appreciate all the work to get that down where it is, and look forward to the benefits that will pay moving forward as we hopefully continue that trend and getting that turnover rate low and keeping it low. So I mentioned exceptional items a minute ago. We had 14 total positions from the legislative session. 6 of those have been hired. 3 of those are in the interview stage, 2 of them are in the screening stage, and 3 are in development. And so we are definitely making forward progress on getting those exceptional item positions filled. Other key positions that we're working on include the field training manager, and we're conducting interviews for those yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And so that's hopefully we'll have that position filled soon as well. So again, wanted to thank all the agency management teams and the hard work of the HR staff to keep those positions filled, and the hiring process is moving forward to keep that turnover rate low, and all the work that goes into that. So in terms of other activities, again, Ms. Galvan will have some information on program records, but as it is the end of the year, I wanted to just provide some statistics that were recently put together as a request for some information to go to the governor's office that I thought were fantastic things to share with y'all, and kind of, I hope, demonstrates our commitment to carrying out the mission of protecting Texas animal agriculture. Last year, we completed over 70,000 animal inspections and more than 3,000 epidemiological consultations. In addition, we've processed over 140,000 interstate animal movement records, continue to get those EIDs out there. And each year, our field staff is traveling over 2.4 million miles across Texas to continue to serve our rural communities. So, and on top of all of that, certainly our staff continues to ramp up awareness and participate in outreach activities related to New World screwworms, and be actively engaged in that. For instance, the launching of comprehensive education and outreach campaign that has reached or resulted in us being involved. And this is a little bit behind now, but 158 speaking engagements. So we're well engaged in providing live in-person updates to industry groups, local government groups, and anybody else that'll listen to us talk about New World screwworms. And one of the efforts is we're working with AgriLife right now to let Aaron worked with them to get us on the agenda for all the county judge and commissioner trainings that are going on right now across the state, to provide information about what a New World screwworm response looks like and some of the statutory pieces that go with that for their awareness. And so certainly engaged in all that, reached more than 233,000 individuals on digital platforms. And again, all of those numbers continue to mount. And I just can't thank all of the staff for all of their ongoing support as we try to prepare for this threat that isn't going to go away anytime soon, unfortunately. So I think that's everything I've got, and certainly welcome any questions or comments or anything else.
Thank you very much, Dr. Spencer. Any questions?
Well, I just wanted to make a comment. It's certainly commendable the way you are running the organization internally and externally. Internally, you've reduced turnover by nearly a third. That is commendable and also shows the level of professionalism and the excellence. And I also want to comment on your external representation at the USAHA, taking the leadership roles, getting the education out there for New World School screwworms. And I heard that you had leadership as well in terms of the research in that endeavor. So I just want to comment that this is commendable work. Thank you.
Well said, well said, and ditto.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Lansford. The next item of business on the agenda is item 10, presentation of program records activities, Ms. Rebecca Galvin.
Well, good morning. My name is Rebecca Galvin. I am the Director of Program Records and Quality Assurance. Having served in this position since June of 2023, I figured it was important for me to stand in front of you guys and provide an annual update on the accomplishments and ongoing initiatives of these departments for the past fiscal year. Dr. Lansford has generously offered high-level updates during his ADT presentations, and I definitely appreciate the recognition from him, the agency, and the commission for the progress our department has made over the past few years. These advancements have been made possible through the support of the executive leadership here at THC, as well as the collaborative, proactive, and solutions-oriented approach demonstrated by the commission. Thanks to this teamwork, I can present some compelling data today that reflects our department's efforts, which I am definitely proud of. I look forward to continuing to advance our initiatives, advance new milestones, and contribute positively to disease surveillance and traceability efforts. As you can see, the department currently consists of 13 employees plus myself, divided into 2 units. The Program Records Department includes 10 customer service representatives and 1 team lead, which is, as you can see, a new position, while the Quality Assurance Department is composed of 2 quality assurance specialists. The Program Records team lead was recognized as part of the most recent exceptional items submitted through the legislature, along with 2 additional customer service representatives. A new team lead has been hired and is expected to begin in early December. The remaining 2 CSRs, or customer service representatives, will be recruited and onboarded throughout the first quarter of next year to achieve full staffing. Over the past 2.5 years, the department has experienced some significant growth. While employee turnover had presented some initial challenges, recent departures have primarily been due to internal promotions of entry-level CSRs and quality assurance staff to other positions within the agency. I am committed to developing career progression pathways for these staff within the department and to elevating positions to eventually include species-specific roles to better support agency mission objectives. As you can see, the Program Records team lead is a newly established position, strategically aligned with the epidemiological team lead to support reporting efforts and foster a collaborative working relationship between these departments. This role manages escalated public inquiries, assists with departmental reporting, and acts as a liaison between both departments and Program Records and Quality Assurance to ensure smooth data and task flow. Program Records CSRs provide entry requirements to the public and out-of-state veterinarians. These inquiries are related to interstate topics, can be related to interstate topics such as file registration or testing results, indicating positive or non-negative outcomes, and these are directed to our appropriate regional office, furthering collaboration with the field. Our quality assurance specialists act as liaisons between users of the Core One and TechScore systems to troubleshoot data entry issues experienced by both the Animal Health Commission and USDA users. The department reviews data input for accuracy, monitors data quality, and develops electronic flexible data entry forms called FDEs, monitor disease surveillance programs, and create standard operating procedures for processes within TechScore. On the screen, we have some program records data by the numbers for fiscal year 2025. Over the past fiscal year, the program records team has processed over 40,000 CVIs. Most of these CVIs have been paper CVIs where the officially ID'd animals are written or handwritten and so these have to be deciphered by this team and manually entered into our database. The team has routed over 100,000 CVIs, which has resulted in clearing of a backlog. We've issued almost 6,500 permits, handled approximately 20,000 phone calls, responded to thousands of emails, and graciously walked through HPAI and dairy cattle, assisted executive staff with commission meetings to manage the flow of the public, handle calls related to New World screwworm, have flexed with the ever-changing federal and state regulations, and my staff continue to come to work every day with a smile. This team does it all and serves as the first touch for this amazing agency. Most of what they do does fall behind the scenes. They do keep things moving, interface with the public, direct calls, provide information, process movement records with a high level of detail and accuracy, and keep commerce going, all while mediating the spread of disease. They have tackled numerous backlogs and continue every day to catch the department up on pending historical data while monitoring current records to keep Texas livestock safe, all with good attitudes and a desire to keep moving and improving. On our quality assurance side, as a department that has been established for a little over a year, the quality assurance team has resolved over 155 support tickets in conjunction with our administrators at Core One, while working on ongoing projects to ensure clean data and address duplications within the system. The team is performing reviews of region processes to increase process continuity, and in addition, the team meets with new hires to train them on their roles within the database and troubleshoots user issues in real time. So kind of to go back from yesterday and through today, when I joined the herd in June of 2023, the program records department consisted of only 6 CSRs and did not encompass the quality assurance team. During my onboarding orientation, it was identified that there were several unfortunate data backlogs. Originally, as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, the agency was utilizing Square 9 and a state vet CVI system to process the movement records. This was a backlog of a mix of paper and electronic CVIs that had not yet been entered into the CoreWin database via the state vet system. The CVIs had been archived through the data filing application Square 9, but this resulted in duplicate data entry into CoreOne and was still pending. It was a cumbersome data entry process that previous staff experienced and was most likely one of the major points that pushed the agency towards the TraceVerse application CVI Central. With collaboration and encouragement from Dr. Dinges, I was able to allocate one customer service representative to complete this backlog. Between the months of November 2023 and December 2024, over 37,000 CVIs were entered into a coded Excel CVI file and uploaded into our state vet database. Of these, over 9,000 were CVIs that this employee had to manually enter into the spreadsheet prior to uploading it into CoreOne. The final step of this very lengthy process was assigning the premises listed on these CVIs to premises known in TextCore. The employee manually matched over 21,000 premises from these CVIs into our database. This was completed in December of 2024. The second backlog that we experienced was through CVI Central. From the transition to CVI Central, although the transition was positive, it did not mean that it came without challenges. It was identified that through the data migration from Square 9 to CVI Central, the program's record staff at the time could not keep up with the forwarding of received CVIs issued by Texas veterinarians to destination states within the required 7-day time frame set by the CFR. To accomplish this backlog, the staff within the department was divided into 2 task-specific teams, one to focus on routing and handling public calls and permits, and another to focus on processing CVIs and IDs. This routing crew, that we call them, was able to catch up on routing or the sending out of these CVIs to destination states within a few short months and have been able to maintain the queue within the required 7 days since April of 2025. Our final backlog is in uploading IDs and assigning these IDs to origin and destination premise information within the database. The Animal Health Commission receives an average of approximately 12,000 CVIs and movement documents each month, an exceptional amount of data and paperwork for a fluctuating department to maintain. Because of the support of leadership and growth awarded by legislature, the department is becoming poised to tackle this final backlog. One of the largest challenges is that a majority of these backlog CBIs are paper CBIs that have officially ID'd animals on them, which means manually entering these 840 RFIDs and deciphering handwritten CBI information. Taking that information, we go to SMART. The program records and quality assurance team and myself have partnered closely with both our IT and epidemiology departments to collaborate and question our processes to make them better and more efficient. In collaboration with IT this year, the Animal Health Commission was awarded monies as part of the National Animal Disease Preparedness and Response Program, or NADPREP, to improve the process workflow of issuing permits. Coming from a pain point of program record staff due to the lack of efficiency in issuing and preparing entry permits specifically related to dairy calves, the NADPREP project focuses on building an e-permitting system for veterinarians to more effectively and efficiently acquire permits for movement of animals into the state of Texas, and creates pathways for associated hold orders to be automatically filed and emailed directly from our TextForce system to animal destination. This will reduce duplicate data entry and move to a data checking process over a data entering process, which will reduce errors and serve the public more efficiently. Part of this transition coordinates with TraceFirst, our administrator's goals of revamping their state vet application, which we had previously used and seen some struggles with, to a state vet user portal that can be accessible by accredited veterinarians. It also creates for a more dynamic state vet permit integration within the system, where currently a limited integration exists. This project is estimated to conclude in the summer of 2026. In collaboration with epidemiology and with support from leadership and legislator, the epidemiology and program records departments have strategically established team lead positions within the departments that are intended to work alongside each other to provide internal support to each of their respective departments, but also assist with cross-training between the data entry needs of each department so that each of these departments can assist each other during the ebbs and flows of data flow. An example is that program records can assist epidemiology during disease outbreaks, and epidemiology can assist program records during times of increased movement, like we see during show season, to ensure that neither of these departments face backlogs, or if they do, there is a plan and people in place to resolve the data backlog very quickly and efficiently. Our quality assurance team, currently as one employee, is working diligently to complete region reviews to bring continuity and processes in data management. A major goal for this fiscal year is to coordinate with existing region meetings to reinforce the existing TextForce training, teach new tips and tricks of using the database, provide updates that have occurred in the system, and receive feedback from the field to provide support for any existing issues. A major point that is going to be able to help, and thank you all for your support, is our transition to electronic CBIs. Throughout the past year, the agency has been deliberating on establishing a plan to transition away from the usage and allowance of paper CBIs and toward only accepting movement records in the digitally formatted electronic CBI. Although the states continue to issue paper CBIs, many have either fully transitioned or have begun transitioning to only accepting eCBIs for both inter and intrastate movements. Additionally, this year at the USAHA annual meeting, the Committee on Animal Health Surveillance and Information Systems proposed a resolution urging the USDA and APHIS to lead an initiative to transition all interstate CBIs to an electronic format, with the goal of incorporating this into the CFRs. Electronic animal identification and digital records are gaining favor by reducing transcription errors and increasing processing speed. The movement of being a fully electronic CBI state enables immediate access to individual animal movement data, a capability that would be invaluable during infectious disease outbreaks such as foot and mouth or New World screwworm, and transitioning to an all-electronic format is the most direct path to enhancing disease traceability effectiveness during trace events. Following the charge of states like Colorado, Kansas, Minnesota, Oklahoma, and Pennsylvania, and by the urging of the USHA, Texas will be joining the charge to improve movement data management by implementing a timeline to transition to eCBIs as seen on the screen. Notification will begin in collaboration with our communications and authorized personnel departments in the coming months. We've obviously accomplished a lot, so definitely thank you guys very much for your support, for the agency, for believing in these charges. Have any questions?
This slide, the one before that, is that shareable information now?
Yes. We'll be working with communications to make it clear on our website and work with authorized personnel to start informing, both internal and external.
Any other questions?
Your backlog is, you hope to be completely cleaned up on all the stuff by this next, like spring or early summer.
That is my hope to start working on it. So with the implementation of a team lead, I'll be able to have a counterpart to help set what those goals would be. And obviously the transition to ECDIs will help with current and future data. So that way it's primarily in tackling the paper information that most of it's unfortunately hard to read. So we do have to follow up with veterinarians to make sure we get the correct information.
Are you saying vets can't write very well?
At times.
And thank you, need to be commended. I know the backlog was huge and y'all done
Thank you.
a great work. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Becca, thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. Thanks very much. Thank
The
you.
next agenda item will be a presentation of disease information and epidemiology activities. Dr. Jesse Mundy.
Morning, y'all. Y'all ready for this? My name is Jessie Monday. I'm the state epidemiologist and my partner is Claudette. Let me see if I can not trip over her this time. To start out, HiPath AI and livestock, just an update on this. We have had same 30 confirmed cases. We've had no movement on this. This is an updated map, but the numbers are the same as the last meeting. We did have the case that was reported in September, but the last clinical case was December of 24. So our dairies have not been detected. And we've had 0 detections in the last 30 days, plus nationally. So this is the big thing is we're dealing with an epidemiology tail end. So I don't want to jinx us. But actually, if you looked at this map today, it would be all white. So the last case was in Idaho, and it was on the 25th of last month. No, 12th of last month, year 2025. Those numbers are tricky. So we're actually seeing another break in the actual cases across the area. And the virologists at NVSL were really excited about that, hoping that we could get control of this form before it reassorted into something that was less controllable. So that's HiPath AI and dairies. We've made it to Q4. And so this is the Q4, the full year report for our disease activities. So it's just been my joy this year to see everybody show up and work really hard on a lot of things and just keep coming to work and doing what needs to be done. So the field staff have kept even my EPIs really busy. And we've been summarizing it all together. So starting with tuberculosis, for our assurance testing piece, so the 5-year follow-up through that national program, we were able in the Q1 of this year to finish out one dairy in the Lipscomb County area that we'd been working with since 2019 when they went from removal into assurance. Same thing with the 2 that we have up in Bailey and Lamb County. We actually did their testing, they straddle the year. So their 5th year actually will be reported on next year's number, but it's already done. They're done. 2 more done. So, and then we have the 3 on assurance testing that we worked through. One, the beef one that's down in the South Texas area, it's gone through their 3rd of 5 assurance testing that was done in June of this last year. So in Q4, and then the Q1 and Q3 of this year, we got those first assurance test for those 2 dairies that we have been working with for a while. So that's what that looks like. That one, the blue one up in the top corner of the panhandle has been resolved, but we are in assurance, so the cleanup follow-up. At the same time, we initiated a number, or NVSL sent us emails and initiated a number of traces for tuberculosis. All of these were slaughter identification, so that surveillance program is working. And we responded. The Mexican origin steer was the Q1 It's complete. All of that's done. We're working on finishing up the paperwork. Eppies, they like all of the words on the papers, lots of pages. The adult dairy cow in Q3 in March, more on that later. And then we had a beef cow identified in Q4 in South Texas. They are under hold order until it's complete and confirmed, that till the screening's complete. We're actually doing that like this week. And so those pesky 260 something feral cattle have been handled and screened, and we're working through what the status of that property will be, and we'll go forward from there. We added another report in June, but I traced and transferred that to New Mexico. That adult dairy cow identified at harvest in March, we did trace that. It was confirmed. We traced that to a complex up in the Panhandle and epidemiologically linked to other complexes. And so that 3 complex has over 25,000 Jersey and Holstein cows and a small Angus beef herd, because why not? And we all 3 are currently under quarantine. They actually have signed a herd plan after assessment tested. They are TB status affected, so the national list will have them up there. Diagnostics so far on that first case. Sorry, guys. She wants me to go sit down. Diagnostics on that first case say it's most likely a new introduction of Mexico origin, so not something that was circulating up there. Their herd plan is signed, and we've run their models through SIA, so they'll have test and remove for 4 times. They are actually in the middle of that. The traces, we did quite a number of traces because it's 5 years starting in March of 2020. The previous whole herd test for them was in January of 2020. So we have some of those that just missed closing out the traces, but we've contacted all the outside states and followed up. We have the list of the slaughter traces, and we've assigned, as of last week, we've assigned all of the traces trace numbers out of that. So traces that have come to us from other states detecting tuberculosis, just 1 out of New Mexico during the Q4. It was actually initiated and we punted it to them. And then they said that we had 800 dairy calves at one of our calf raisers. And so we came up with a plan to control the risk, isolate them, and test them out to send them back to New Mexico. And then we have some terminal chain beef calves that the Amalot region is managing. They are still testing out New Mexico and still doing their trace identification, but the state veterinarian out there, because most of the animals going off of that dairy go straight to slaughter, us getting adult dairy cow traces out of them, that dairy is extremely unlikely. So just a map representation of the investigations we've got ongoing, across the state, and the traces. So from the 49 traces that we were looking at last year, we closed out. All the work's done on that last 2022 trace. And then we have 12 traces on the list so far at the end of this Q4 that are out of that dairy that we identified in March. Next quarter, that number is going to be much higher because we started assigning them in October. We'll get it sorted. So cattle brucellosis, we have about the normal level of testing for surveillance. For the year, we had a total of the 5 cases this year. It was 9 cases last year at the end of the fiscal year. And so just responding, doing what we need to do, and working that surveillance program. So we still have all the testing numbers. We're still detecting them. We're still responding appropriately, and no big trends or anything we need to worry about. For trichomoniasis, last year we actually did 205 PCR tests with a similar detection, or we had 205 with a similar percentage, so that we actually did a few more 1,000 PCR tests. It was in the 19,000 range for last year. So the percentage didn't change very much. It was 1.06 last year. So that's staying pretty consistent with what's found and the work done across, plus the total surveillance numbers across Texas provided by our program as written. And so those cases across the state have a spread that's not surprising. A lot of work in the Stephenville and Giddings area, Sulphur Springs as well. But we're moving forward with all of them and closing them as we finish them out and test the goals out. For the National Silo Program, so as Dr. Dingy said, we're leveraging the existing program. So DISH is doing the majority of the surveillance. And so looking at the cohorts across the board, I'll give you the numbers in a minute. The enrollment across the states right now, so these are the nationally for the National Milk Testing Strategy. There's an actually affected and unaffected classifications as of November 7th. And just notice that this is a surveillance program. They have to have confidence that that virus is no longer circulating in the dairy population. And look at the 3 of those are very high hitters for representing the 3 of those states are out of the top 5 dairy producing states in the United States. And New Mexico is also in the top 10. So looking at where we are, it's just the spread of those cows. I don't know what SIA needs to feel confident, but the fact that we're one of the top milk sheds in the country makes me think that we'll be in it for a while. During the quarter, we did round 3. They did round 3, 4, and 5. So a total of 862 silo inspections to see if they can be sampled, and 461 samples sent to NVSL over the whole program so far, April to August. And about 50% of those silos across the board, it's close to 64%, are sampled when they go out and check them. For cattle fever ticks, we're continuing our identification efforts, making sure that we're collecting, looking at, identifying, responding to ticks, and finding ticks in areas that they may not be. Down in the high-risk area, we had 261 fever ticks last year, 262 this year, so holding steady. We had 2634 total ticks last year, so a few less, but we did respond to the detections and what we saw. For horses, the EIA, this number is a little different. We had 39 cases last year. And 2 pyro cases, but we've been dealing with the 2 outbreaks that Dr. Dinges has been reporting on. It came out at 89 and 13, with a number of those being dual infected for 5 of them. So over the entire year, we responded, we identified, tested, responded, and cleared out almost 84 cases for EIA, and responded to 8 cases for pyro, 5 additional cases. So that sums all across our dual infected horses that are represented pretty much in a single type of equine in the state. So that's the spread. It's a little more spread this year because we had the outbreak out of racing environment and out of an actual vet clinic environment. And so you'll see the spread across there. Slightly unfortunate. But we found it, we responded to it, and everything shows that we did what needed to be done. We're working with Dr. Pelzel McCluskey. So next year, fingers crossed, it should look like a completely different map. Avian influenza surveillance, did over 7,500 birds tested through the surveillance program, and just had the few high-path AI reported it through the state and responded. Those are actually backyard birds that didn't go through the live bird market. Then the 41,000 birds tested through the MPIP and Polar program. So the high-path AI cases and ILT, we had those 2 cases that were not big commercial cases for high-path AI. And then for ILT, we had a number of cases throughout the year. We had 19 cases last year. We had 26 cases this year. And we are monitoring that trend that we're seeing with repeats in Shelby County. The Sulphur Springs region and the FEs are looking into various different factors there that can be addressed or discussed with those producers to try to prevent that repeat from happening, to get that number down. Our pigs. We actually had 11 cases of combined brucellosis and pseudorabies last year. So surveillance is working, we're responding, but the distribution was different. We had 9 pseudorabies and 1 dual infected last year. So no dual infected this year. and almost an even split between those areas with high number of feral swine and transitional pigs. So nothing surprising there, and just evidence of the work we're doing to close it out. Last but not least, for sure, our survey. So chronic wasting disease, we have the 25 positive facilities, 17 of which have been depopulated. And so working with those facilities under herd plans to figure out what an exit strategy works for them. We do have a high spread across the state, and it is continuing. So we have our high risk areas. I do not need to talk about the budget, anything. One more that way. Yeah, forward. So after September 16th, with the repeal of the herd certification program, we notified the 77 holdouts and that they're out of the program, and then started working on the trace breeder facilities. 55 of them have been released from hold order and transferred over to parks, and we're working with the ones that are still under herd plan. We have 7 of the positive breeder facilities reviewed and released. So we're working through the positive breeders now to identify the ones that just belong under parks, that have gone to parks, and we'll work with the ones that actually have exotic susceptible species. Oh dear. That's fun. I'll take it. Thank you. Will you get? Yeah. She'll follow you. Sorry, little girl, you tried to tell me. She ate a bug over here. Just really hoping that it wouldn't do anything. I thought she was alerting to me because I'm busy. I'm sorry, guys. Any questions about diseases?
Anybody have any questions?
Been hopping busy.
Thank you very much.
How's that feel?
Next on the agenda will be a presentation of USDA veterinary services by Dr. Collins.
I give credit to a AdVet team here. It's my emergency coordinator, Dr. Brian Lalonde. Thanks, Brian. All right. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for having me here today. My remarks will be rather short because we haven't been active, except that we have. And I'll talk about a little bit more about that. And also that Dr. Dinges and Dr. Monday and Dr. Lansford have already given you a lot of information that I won't reiterate. But I do want to give you some updates on some local office changes. And then I'll finish up with some additional details about HiPath AI and New World Screwworm. So in our local office here in field operations for USDA, we've lost about 20% of our workforce since January of this year. And that's due to a combination of the deferred resignation program that was rolled out earlier in the year. And a few folks have taken a voluntary separation to go into private practice or other reasons. But we did lose quite a few people. And so currently we have 14 VMOs and 13 animal health technicians on staff. We have made a selection for an additional field veterinarian that will be posted in the Northeast Texas region to support Sulphur Springs area and Dallas area. And we are hoping to have positions open to advertise for early in 2026. But USDA is also planning to hire additional term employees specifically to support a New World Screwworm response. And that's nationwide, and we've requested some of those positions here in Texas as well. So we have not seen the final plan for that hiring, but we hope that that will come through.
None of those numbers include border personnel. As far
No.
as right? That's
Correct,
separate.
correct. I can get those for you next meeting, but the southern border ports, as you know, have been closed. Those folks have been helping out with New World Screwworm, with other responses around the country. But if you'd like that info, I can get that for you as well. And I do want to speak a little bit about the effects of the shutdown on our local office here. So most of us were considered accepted on call, meaning they were not paid. They were working if there was a non-appropriated fund work for them to do, which would be imports and exports. And that work did continue through the shutdown. A few of us, two of us were working despite, we had to come into the office and work. And then two of us were furloughed without ability to call them in. And those were the support personnel that handle shipping supplies and managing the accredited veterinary program, or NVAP. And what I learned during this 43-day shutdown was there's a lot of activity in the accredited vet program. We had a lot of vets that were expiring, calling and concerned about that. Other vets that could not be accredited. We had to cancel a core orientation that is done in conjunction with the Animal Health Commission. I think there were about 50 people enrolled in that that had to be canceled. So, we were unable to ship forms or trailer seals or routine things out of our warehouse. I'm happy to report that since the shutdown ended on the 13th, last Thursday, we've got caught up on the backlog. Those folks worked really hard to service the accredited vets, to do our customer service. They take that very highly. They were happy to get back to work and get that one done. So I just wanted to give them a shout out.
Is everybody gonna get back pay for?
Yes, they should. Yeah, there was some stress, a lot of stress about things in the news about that not coming through. But after the shutdown in 2018, there was a law passed, I believe, that guaranteed that. So as far as we know today, that should happen. So I'll move over to just a few things about avian influenza. I want to talk more about the biosecurity program because we haven't heard about that today. I mentioned our last meeting in August that there are 3 biosecurity incentive programs for producers. One is mandatory if it's an infected premises or in a surrounding zone of an infected premises, and those prems have to undergo an audit of their biosecurity practices if they want to be eligible for indemnity again in the future. Fortunately, as you heard, we haven't had any major outbreaks in Texas, but that program dovetails into the second assessment program, which is totally voluntary. And it's, again, pretty much the same protocol, except it's a voluntary program and it qualifies premises kind of proactively to be eligible in the first program that I mentioned. That's called the Biosecurity Incentive Focused Assessment. And all of these that I'm talking about are free. We have had some interest since our last meeting in those, and to date, we've had 39 requests for those types of assessments. And 10 of them are the voluntary one that I mentioned, and the majority of them, though, are the third type, which is just a wildlife biosecurity assessment. And they go in, and the wildlife services folks actually come in and surveil and give recommendations on improving biosecurity. The intent for all of this is to reduce the number of prems that are infected. And we've been going through this now for going on 4 years. In February of 2026, so it'll be 4 years. We can't keep doing things the way we've been doing. And so this is part of that strategy. So I'm happy to see that more flocks are taking advantage of that. There is a cost share program for that. I think USDA covers up to 75% or $25,000 of any biosecurity remediations that are required. And that is an ongoing program. Another thing I wanted to mention about highly pathogenic avian influenza this year is it's very active at the moment. Just in the last week, ending on Friday, there were 31 prems detected just in that week. And most of those were in the Midwest, I think 17 in Indiana. Michigan's had quite a few, I believe. And so it is still very active, even though we've been doing these biosecurity audits and things. And so those folks are extremely busy. And our folks in Texas are traveling out as needed to support that as well. So I won't talk a lot about the HPAI and dairy cattle, but that's because that's been covered previously, but I do want to mention that those activities, as far as the data management and removing Texas from that map of affected states and compiling all that negative tests that we're getting from the silo testing program, that was paused during the shutdown. So I expect that they're working on that. But as you heard, Texas continues to test silos. USDA is supporting that testing with $288,000 of money for that, and that will continue. So finally, I'll talk a little bit about New World screwworm and give you some more filling out what you've already heard from an excellent presentation by Dr. Gingis on the many efforts in Mexico and preparedness in the U.S. So just to add to that, I can tell you that we've got 115 responders. These are people that are assigned to respond to this trapping effort along the southern border. 74 of those are actually on the ground servicing the 101 traps that are in Texas. And additional 21 people are virtually supporting the effort through the data management and reporting up the chain and so on. So incident management teams from around USDA are rotating in every 3 weeks to support that effort, as they also sometimes split the teams to support HIPATH elsewhere. And all of this work continued during the shutdown. And I also want to mention that our office, along with Animal Health Commission, is getting a lot of calls about suspect screwworm flies or larvae. And these are coming from producers, from veterinarians, members of the public sometimes. And as of this morning, we've submitted 37 suspect flies just since October 1st to the National Veterinary Lab for identification. For context, in all of fiscal year 25, we did 89 of these. Our office provides the resources to ship the samples. We notify the lab, help the producers, veterinarians collect them. Most times, this does not involve anybody from Animal Health Commission or our office physically going there. But we get those to the lab overnight, and we get a result back from the lab the same day that they arrive there. So I just wanted to mention that I think that we're getting so many of these calls is really a good reflection on THC's and USDA's efforts to outreach to the community. So I want to thank you guys for that. With that, that's my report. I'll try to answer any questions.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Collins. Next item will be a budget status report from Ms. Paula Andrews.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Okay, these are the financials through October 31st of 2026. Hoping you all have that copy right in front of you, because I know it's kind of tiny. In the far left hand, there is a green side. That's the budgeted amount. We kind of went over the proposed operating budget and what each of the strategies would be getting. In the orange is the actual program details. We thought it would be better to be able to see each strategy and exactly see what it is that they're expending based on the on what we report to LBB. So as of September 1st through October 31st, we have expended $3,323,525. 66% of that is salaries, with $2,198,959. 21% of that is actually goes to other operating expenses, and the rest, kind of just falls in between the other cost categories. Let me see. For field, 69% of that is their salary of what they spent of their $2,384,000, and about 77% of that total amount of other operating expense all is in field. So as you can see, the field is our major spender. And then central admin comes in kind of second. Down below is the funding summary for the revenue. We've kind of like to split it between expenses and revenue. So for through October 31st of 2025, what we have received in revenue for the field, we have received $2,378,737. Of that amount, for federal funds was about $978,000. We did get appropriated receipts, so that's for when we sell things like to surplus, we get a very small amount back for it. We did get 1.29 million for our fleet vehicles. And then so far we have recovered about 107,000 for our fee recovery. So that's like for our permits, our CW, well, I don't think we get more, but ECDI, things like that. For EPI, they've received, again, I do believe Dr. Lansford had spoke to this, or Dr. Dinges had, 30,000 was added to the base budget for them. And that's to continue the EFT project. And then legal and compliance received 22,590, and that was for salary adjustments. And that was added to them. For the grant, so far we have received, like I said, the 978,000, and that's about a little under half of what we are expected to receive in federal grants this year. So let's see. So available budget less actuals is $25,341,320. That is it for the budget.
Any questions? Motion to approve the budget status report.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the budget status report as discussed today.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the report. Any discussion or questions? Not all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by no. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, ma'am. And now we'll move to consideration of and possible action on agency contracts purchase with families. And sorry, back over to you.
So Dr. Lansford spoke about our Pleasanton office. This would be our new replacing our Vivo regional office. So this is for a 10-year lease agreement. 1.2 million. This is an estimate. This does not include any kind of like renovations or anything like that that might be included. So this is strictly just the lease. So this is for the next 10 years for the Pleasanton office, and then 1.2 million for the Willacy office. Both of these offices are set to expire March of next year. So we're asking a not to exceed or estimated cost of 2.4 million.
How does that compare to other regions?
It's pretty much the same. We try to save between 120,000 to maybe about 140,000 for a lease a year. So it's pretty close. I think our biggest region, well, obviously besides central office, I believe it's Amarillo, and they're roughly about 127,000. So we're kind of within that range.
Any further questions? Do I hear a motion?
Chairman, I move that we approve the contracts, purchases, and leases as presented.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the contracts, purchases, and leases as presented. Any further discussion or questions? Not all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Paula. Next item on the agenda will be a presentation of compliance activities. Mr. Clint Scarlett.
Good morning, commissioners. We want to give you an update on the fiscal year 25 on the compliance department. So we wanted to, like I said, we updated in January, but we've had a full year under our belt now. Some really exciting stuff to us that we have. You can see up on the top, we've had 1,094 cases received into the compliance department. And that's from everything agency wide. Some of the bigger topics referred to prosecution is 113. So that's going to be 113 different defendants that we have filed cases on for some type of a non-compliant action. Still sending out a lot of warning letters. Jenna works her tail off sending out warning letters. We use common sense. Folks that first time offenders typically get a break unless it's very egregious, or if they're a traitor, somebody that should know better. We try to use common sense. So we sent out 859 warnings this year. In the past years, that you go down that second block down there, top alleged violations, TB has been one of our higher ones, and that's dairy ID coming out of the markets. But I'm proud to see that entry requirements, 702 violations that's come through, and that's from the hard work of those 10 guys sitting on them roads every day for the last year. It just shows what's been coming into the state without the right paperwork, without the right testing. And they're continuing to work hard. I mean, some long days, some long traveling, but I think it's paying off for agency wide. Yes, sir.
Okay, question, penalties, it says $17,560 penalties received, only 5,360. Does this get lost in the legal process or what?
I'll have to defer that. That
Yes.
gets past me.
Okay.
So if a violator has accepted the penalty, they will send us the check to pay the penalty. Some of these violators are contesting the penalty assessed, so we go through Jafar and his process with SOA. And once we get an order from the commission, then we can enforce that judgment.
Okay, so these are basically pending, not
Yes,
thrown out.
And that's our,
Okay.
that's our notice, our NOVs, we call them.
Yeah.
113 individuals on that next block with 402 that's gonna be 402 Class C citations filed with JPs. So that's, that number, we don't have the number because each JP, of course, sets their own penalty, but I'm gonna tell you what, they're not cheap. We send them good cases. We don't send, maybe did he do it? We pretty much, our cases are solid when we send it to them and they know it. We send them a nice book report that pretty easy to follow, and we get a lot of $500 fines because we find it to be egregious if we're filing on you. Because you can tell by how many warning letters we send out. We try to work with the folks. And we're getting repeat offenders now. We've been out there 2 years. We're starting to get some repeat offenders. But the good thing about it is we're getting a lot of repeat customers that have the right paperwork. Drive up, proud to have a CBI hanging out the window looking at you. I got it this time.
They know what they have to have.
We have a lot of those. It's working. In our eyes, it's working. Still have those that are disgruntled because they don't like it, but that's just part of our government. They don't, So I guess, so the next one, the the map just gives you a good outline of where we're working a lot of cases. We'll just start top left up there. You got Palmer, Deaf Smith, and Old Sherman. We work a lot of roadblocks up there. People coming out of state. Pull down over there to that Texarkana area. You got Bowie, Lamar, Grayson, Cook. We work a lot of stuff there. Cook County, you got I-35 coming in. Bowie County, we got 30 over there. There's a lot of traffic comes from multiple states right there. And then down kind of to the right-hand side, got Orange County, I-10. We've got a road stop. We work there a lot. So those numbers, those counties are getting darker. The more we work them, the more we got people out there enforcing the regulations.
Can you give any kind of split to how much of that's beef cattle versus dairy cattle?
Most of it's EIA. Most of it's horses without health papers. There's lots of, most of it. I mean, you got some dairy, of course, the Panhandle, we got dairy movement. We've had a lot of cases filed on importation is the charge, importation of animals on dairy calf and stuff, but it's coming down. I think it's coming down. It's gotten better. We've had a few repeat offenders that's got some pretty hefty fines, and they seem to be getting health papers. But overall, day to day, the calls I get, most of it's EIA, most of it's equine coming in and out of the state, and it's a multitude. It's not just rodeo, it's everything. But there's lots of horses moving up and down. In a day's time, with all 10 of those guys out working, probably see more horses. That next one, let's see. That gives us a breakdown of the left-hand side is the livestock enforcement investigators. That's worked the last year there. So you can see we've had 618 non-compliant road stops there, 4,201 compliant. I think that's running about the same as the year before. Percentage pretty close. But 4,800 road stops made out there by those guys. Just those 10 guys. The other side is our senior investigators. They're Bart, Les, and Taylor and Tuffy, and that's the number of cases that they've either managed or worked, whether it come from another region or region sent it in or something violated that we had to work with other guys. But most of our 10 new guys are working on cases now. They've been here. If they catch it, they skin it, type deal. They go ahead and work the case, and it gets them to where they understand what they're doing. Get a better understanding. We did do a special project, wasn't in fiscal year 25, but we done it this past October. And I wrote down some notes on it. 2022, we worked a big pig sale in Oklahoma. Had lots of complaints. It was a lot of swine coming in without proper paperwork. We worked at 22, worked about 5 roads up through there from Wichita Falls around to Gainesville, kind of up through there. 22, we had lots of people coming without the right paperwork. 23, we sent them all back if they didn't have it, made them get a health paper that year. Go back into the state, go to the vet. There was one vet over there, got a little mad because they got a little busy that day, but we skipped last year and we went back this year, and I'm proud to say most of the swine had the right paperwork. Most of those guys have got the hint. And I don't know if we filed on 1 or 2 up for 3 years out of that group. We just sent them back, let them learn the hard way there without charging them $500 a pig. So we had a lot of good on the swine side. You can see 2.5 days, we stopped 136 vehicles, 37 of them were non-compliant. We looked at 9,785 head of livestock. That's kind of about 6,000 of them are birds, chickens. But that just in 2.5 days, that's what we looked at with 10 people working those roads, 5 different roads in 2.5 days. it just kind of shows us what we can find if you get the right days you're working out there. And we try to move around. We're not in the same place no more than 2 days, unless there's some special project. And we have just photos of some of the work. That's some of the work that was done the October work there. Some of it's panhandle pictures, but I want everybody, if you hadn't seen our new electronic signs, that bottom left there. So we got those that the guys deploy. Same kind of a base that you see a construction sign on the side of the road. We've got those. Plus we got 5 of the ones that pull up, pull on with a trailer. Small one, same size, board, message board. But I want to thank everybody in this year that had any involvement with that, because that has been a great tool for that road. It's anybody involved with getting them purchased, because people see them, some still don't, but most people see them, and it's helped the guys. I mean, we're deploying 3 and 4 signs on these roads where we used to deploy 2. We're trying to give everybody benefit to see our signs when they get pulled in there. But those signs have been big asset for our department. We've done some training in March, done some in-house training, had speakers mostly from in-house with our investigators, trying to get everybody on the same page all across the state, how we handled everything. And believe it or not, we had some guys that's worked for us that's never been on a witness stand. And if you ever run across them and ask them how Penny Maley is when she's grilling you on the stand, you really don't want to be there. She's good. And the guys, actually, we learned a lot. Everybody that had never been on a witness court, witness stand, sees how hard you can get your words turned around. So Penny done great. Everybody did. Everybody spoke. I think everybody enjoyed it, learned it. We've been to the New War screwworm training. We sent every one of ours to those. Just photos of that and our training, and then just more photos from everybody at the screwworm training. I don't know what Janine's smiling at. But yeah, that's pretty much it, except for we did do some outreach, or communication had outreach along with us. We did a lot of road work, South Texas, West Texas, handed out the New War screwworm flyers, letting everybody know. Bart and Jose and Dwayne and them and Eli went down, and they had channel 5 done a real good presentation on our article on the New World screwworms, and they was at the road stop there. Cal Furious, I believe. And they have another one coming up first week of December. A news channel out of Corpus Christi is going to do another one. So we've been trying to do our part in that too, and stop everybody and give them a pamphlet so they answer any questions we can. So that wraps up our compliance for the past year. And if anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Thank you very much, Clinton. Y'all been busy.
It's been a busy year, but it's been good. This year's better than the first year with the new people. It's just getting better.
It'll get better.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Let the record reflect that Commissioner Johnson left. Next item on the agenda is consideration of and possible action on orders related to commission rule violations. Mr. Jabbar Fahim. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Chairman. Morning, Commissioners. Just like last time, going to be pretty short. This time there are 8 disciplinary cases for your consideration, and I just kind of want to give a little bit more color to your question about the outstanding fines. That number is 17,000, somewhere in there. The vast majority of the net notices of violations that we send out are around $200 because it's usually the second violation after their first one got a warning letter. And so that's the vast majority. There are a couple who do get in the thousands for their fines, but those are the very egregious violations. None of the ones that we have here today are to that level. And when they do get those larger violations, those are the ones that we do prosecute at SOA. Like Janine said, the collection is after it comes to you for a final order, then collection can continue. So for the disciplinary orders, there were 2 cattle entry violations. There were 3 dairy ID. 2 veterinarians were assessed penalties for violations that Rex and Danielle and authorized personnel kind of presented to us. Some issues with filling out paperwork properly, consistently. And then 1 admin penalty for a trick violation. So those are the disciplinary orders. There's also 1 case before you for it was at SOA. It was kind of a unique case. This was an individual who was canceled from the herd certification program while it was still being administered by the Texas Animal Health Commission. They appealed the cancellation, and we went through our normal process of presenting it to the State Office of Administrative Hearings. In that process, the rule package was passed that repealed the herd certification program. And as a result of that, the judge asked if we still were going to have the hearing, and I could not get a hold of the appellee who was trying to reinstate into the program that no longer existed. So they failed to show for the hearing, and the dismissal order the judge dismissed it for their failure to show for the hearing, but also because of the repeal. So kind of gave them the opportunity to show up after the fact, say why they did not show for the hearing. They never showed. So there's an order to issue a final dismissal order for that 1 case. These are the orders. That last one, Union Hill Whitetails, is the default dismissal. And with that, we recommend that the final orders that are presented to you be adopted.
Hear a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the final orders under agenda item 16 and presented here today.
Second.
Right, we have a motion and second to adopt the final order. Any discussion or questions? Not all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by no. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Javar. Item 17 is consideration of and possible action on adoption of the proposed rules. Ms. Penny Manning.
Good morning, I'm Penny Maley. First up on item 17 are 2 rules that were proposed last time and have been published in the Texas Register. First are changes to Chapter 38, our trichomoniasis chapter. The trick working group met in July and to review our trick program. The group made 2 recommendations to update our rules. First, to change our testing results verbiage, and also to update testing requirements. So the proposed amendments in this chapter were made as a result of those recommendations. Okay, so the first change was an amendment to update test result language, changing it from a negative result to a not detected result, which more accurately reflects how test results are received. And then the second change was to eliminate testing requirements for bulls that are part of a herd 1 year after the date the hold order or quarantine order on the herd was released. The group found that this requirement was originally put in place to address repeat infections, but that the testing hasn't served that purpose and isn't really needed for additional surveillance at this time. The proposal was published in the September 19th issue of the Texas Register for 30 days for a comment period. During that comment period, we received no written comments. So staff recommends the commission adopt the following motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adopt the amendments to chapter 38, title Tiffin and title 4, the effective insert code with changes necessary to the proposed text as published in September 19, 2025, issue of the Texas Register, VG Texas Register 6086.
Second. We have a motion and a second to adopt the chapter 38. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by no. The motion passes unanimously. Right.
The next one up for adoption is a rule package on egg drop syndrome virus. So these are changes made to chapter 45, our reportable and actionable disease chapter, chapter 51, entry requirements, and chapter 57, which houses our poultry rules. Egg drop syndrome virus is an infectious disease that affects many species of poultry and birds, largely in their egg production cycle. Clinical signs include thin-shelled, soft-shelled, or shell-less eggs, and then a rapid extended loss in egg production. Currently, there's no treatment for egg drop syndrome virus, and vaccine use is limited and poses its own risks. So the changes that we've made are designed to have some early detection should it make it to Texas. The changes to chapter 45 are adding egg drop syndrome virus to the list of reportable and actionable diseases. The changes to 51 are to add new entry requirements for poultry affected by egg drop syndrome virus. We also thought this was a good time to consolidate our entry requirements that are kind of spread out between two different chapters in chapter 51 and chapter 57 for a little bit of ease of use. So we did that. We've consolidated those and then reorganized existing entry requirements into an easier to follow list rather than big bulky paragraphs. And then changes to 57 were removing interstate movement requirements, and we moved those to chapter 51. We've renumbered paragraphs and clarified some proven available methods of carcass disposal. This proposal was published in the Texas Register. We received one comment from the Texas Poultry Federation. They thanked the commission for their proactive approach to protecting Texas poultry. And then they suggested that the commission clarify some of the proposed language to ensure that birds from both state quarantined areas and federal quarantined areas shall not enter without express written consent. Staff reviewed that suggestion, and we found that the proposed language could be made more clear. So we made non-substantive changes to 51.15E, just clarifying that birds from both state quarantined areas and from federal quarantines would be required to seek express written permission before entering. So staff recommends the commission adopt the following motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the amendments to chapter 45 titled Reportable and Actual Diseases, chapter 51 titled Entry Requirements, into chapter 57 titled Poultry, located in title 4 of the Texas Administrative Code, with changes as necessary to the proposed text as published in September 19, 2025 issue of the Texas Register.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt the revisions as presented. Any further questions or discussions? Not all in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by no. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, ma'am. Now you got another.
Yes. So this is item 18, consideration of and possible action on proposed rules. This is a proposed amendment to chapter 51 entry requirements. The proposed amendment would add a definition of dairy cattle to our rules. We found that our program record staff, Rebecca, who got up here and talked to you about our permitting, found that there is some confusion surrounding what the meaning of dairy cattle is, and whether certain dairy crosses need to be tested prior to entry.
In working through our rule and in working through the problem, the suggestion was to simply add a definition of dairy cattle. The definition we are proposing is the exact same as the USDA's definition, which states that all cattle, regardless of age or sex or current use, that are of a breed or offspring of a breed used to produce milk or other dairy products for human consumption are considered dairy cattle. And that would clear up some of the confusion of our test requirements for entry. So staff recommends the commission adopt the following motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we propose the amendments to Chapter 51, Title Entry Requirements located in Title 4 of the Texas Administrative Code with changes as necessary to the proposed text. I further move that the notice of proposed amendments be published in the Texas Register with 30-day comment period.
Second.
Do we have a motion and a second to amend the proposed rules? Is there any further discussion or questions? Not all in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by no. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda will be awards, and I'm not told of any, so we don't have any awards, and there's nobody signed up for public comments. So that does conclude our meeting, and I want to thank again everybody for being so patient, bearing with us. We had a business transaction this morning, but we didn't do too badly. Thank you all for being here, and we look forward to seeing you at the next meeting, and we wish everyone a Merry Christmas. We'll be adjourned.